filled with like political pins and like, you know, no bra, nipples out, because fuck the man. And then in contrast to that, her personality was, this isn't an original way to describe her, but she really was exactly Diane Chambers from Cheers. Like, she really said, like, when and where, and, you know, grammar and diction and enunciation were her passions. I remember being with her as a kid. We were ordering food, and she goes, I'll have the breakfast croissant. And, you know, we live in Manchester, New Hampshire. They say avocado there. I'm like, Mom. The girl's like, the what? The croissant? The breakfast croissant? I'm like, Mom, it's a croissant sandwich. We're at Burger King. Like, meet people where they're at. She was a director. She directed local theater in Manchester, New Hampshire, and she was a born director, you know, little notes, little corrections for everyone she met. Never met a comment card she didn't fill out. She was actually the voice of our local movie theater, Bedford Mall Cinemas, where all bargain matinees are only $2 Monday through Saturday. And she got the job because she complained. She went right in and said, I called to see what movies were playing, and the man on the line was indecipherable. He had no diction. I couldn't understand a word he was saying. They were like, you want to do it? She was like, I don't know. Yes, yes, okay. And a star was born. She really never lied. It would never occur to her to lie, even to like protect someone's feelings. She just didn't do it, you know, like she was directing a play and one of her young actresses asked her, you know, Beth Ann, do you think I could really make it someday? And she said, no. The only reason I know that story was I was asking my sister Susie if she had any stories about Mom, and she told that to me, and I said, how do you know that? Were you there? And she said, no. Mom told me because she couldn't figure out why that girl was crying. That girl, Pam Sullivan. Right, you've never heard of her. Right. Not talented. Did not have it. But, you know, she was my mom. I sat with her as she was dying, and I was holding her hand, and it was a quiet moment, and it was the last thing she said to me, and she looked up and she said, your hair, it's so dry. I really wouldn't change it for the world, you know? I know it sounds like I'm being hard on her, but honestly, I'm so grateful. She always told me the truth, and it was a bummer a lot of the time, but sometimes it was something nice, and then I knew it was true, you know? I mean, I think we need more Beth Anns in the world, you know? If we're lacking anything in this world right now, it's truth, you know? But the cold, hard, braless nipples of truth. Enter Janice, my wicked stepmother, as she called herself. She was just the sweetest lady you could ever meet. Just to give you and she said, Janice passed away around 2 a.m. and she's still here, and Dad is sleeping. They're holding hands. And she said, you know, normally Dad would be up, but I think in his bones, you know, he knows, and he just doesn't want to face it. But I'm here, I'm sitting right next to him, and I'll be here when he wakes up. And I said, okay, great. And then all of a sudden, she remembers this joke that she and my dad always loved. And the joke is something like a brother calls his brother, and he goes, the cat died. And then the brother goes, don't just call and say the cat died. He goes, oh, what do you want me to say? He goes, cat's on the roof and we can't get her down. Then call and say, we're at the vet, it's not looking good. Then call and say the cat died. And the brother says, okay, I'm sorry. And his brother goes, it's all right. How's mom? And you're ahead of it. He says, she's on the roof and we can't get her down. So now, Rabbi Susie remembers this all in 1 minute, and she's hysterically laughing, and she is a rabbi, but when she starts, she can't stop, and it's loud, and tears are running down her face, and she just can't stop, and she's now terrified that Dad is gonna wake up and be like, what's so funny? And she'd be like, Janice died. And she texts me and she goes, when he wakes up, should I say that Janice is on the roof and we can't get her down? And I'm like, yes. Because we are a very dark, fucked up family, but I did think better of it. And I said, no, be a rabbi, and later in the day, I'll tell him. But it's so funny, we're only just grieving like now, you know, because there's just so much logistics. You don't expect it. It's not how it is like in the movies or something. It's just, there's so much to do. And I feel bad saying this. They were such responsible people, but the craziest thing is they made no death plan. And so we were left with so much to do. And I don't want to blame, listen, in their defense, they were only 80 and 85. Who knew? And I guess I basically knew what they wanted. Like my dad always said, throw me in a pine box and bury me. I'll push up the flowers and the trees. And I think Janice would have liked a nice, you know, 5-star kind of silk lined with maybe a string and a bell just in case. But I remember, you know, they came over every Sunday for bagels and cream cheese, and it was just my favorite day. And they were over, maybe this was 2 years ago, and everyone was in the backyard, and my dad and I were alone in the kitchen, and I asked him, I said, are you afraid of dying? And he goes, not at all. I don't remember before I was born, I'm not gonna remember after. But then he goes, but I'm scared it will hurt. And my dad was a huge pain pussy. It's true. He was so afraid it would hurt. He once got an EKG where they put all the stickers on you. He would not pull those stickers off. It's like, I'm afraid it will pull my hair. He goes, I'm gonna let it wear off. And he really did. And it took like weeks. He was in a pool at one point with all these EKG stickers. He looked like a dog that just had puppies. So he really wasn't scared, but he was scared it would hurt. And his doctor called me. We're taking care of him now, and Janice is gone. And I'm the point person, so I answer the phone and I take it in the hallway. And his doctor, Dr. Nortman, said, listen, we just got your dad's blood results back, and he's dying. He needs to be in the hospital. And I said, I don't know what to do because we promised him no more hospital. He fucking hates it there. And the doctor said, you know, look, as a doctor, I have to suggest he go to the hospital. As a human being, you know, I think that's fine. If he goes to the hospital, he'll live a few more days, but there'll be hospital days. And right now, he's home, he's surrounded by family, and I actually think that's just the ticket. Then he said, the way he's gonna die is kidney failure, which just happens to be a painless death. You go into a fog eventually, it's almost euphoric, and you're just gone. And I was so excited for my dad, and I ran into his room. I probably should have taken a beat. I said, Dad, great news. He's like, huh? I'm like, mitigate your expectations, you're dying. But I said, no more meds. You know, he was on like 40 pills a day. He goes, no more meds? I go, none, you're done. And we're all gonna live here with you forever. And, well, he knew what I meant, though. And then I told him exactly how he was gonna die and that it wasn't gonna hurt at all. And his shoulders went down and he was so happy. We all got into bed with him. It was a great death. You know, we were singing old camp songs. He loved camp. And telling funny Silverman family stories. I made a mix for him of all the biggest hits from the summer he was 17, because I feel like that was his happiest summer. And he knew every word to every song. It was pretty awesome. So, you know, Janice is gone, Dad is going, and I'm back on the phone with the same mortuary where we put Janice to try to get ahead of it. And I go into Dad's room and I said, Dad, I know you wanted to be buried, but would you mind being cremated only because, and what I'm about to say is